Hey Mike Kip, how are you? I'm gonna give it a little bit for maybe some people to come and chat. And now I'm gonna start it because we're gonna switch this over to a regular podcast episode. So I'm gonna start it like one in a minute or so. I gotta, there'll be a short out for it, but it's a PSA 10 card. I don't want to show what the card is, but hey Omar, how are you? Hopefully you're doing well. I can't really do music in the background because it is gonna be the podcast episode, and you don't really put music in the background of a podcast. So, yeah. Is chat's not working on screen? It doesn't show me live. There we go. Now chat should start being on screen. Sounds good, Omar. It's gonna be a short one. It's just a podcast, so hopefully. I need people to come in, or we can't really do it. Boom, 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 boom. Let's make sure it's synced up when I download it. I'm waiting. I have 30 more seconds. And then I'm gonna introduce. It's gonna be. I'm gonna start it like a normal podcast. Then we can start talking with chat and stuff. Hopefully, if chat shows up. You know what? I can just. I'll just do this. Hey y'all, how's it going? Welcome to episode 9 of Anxious Conversations. Yeah, we're actually doing a live episode this week. I'm currently live right now, talking with chat and stuff. Hopefully, talking with chat and stuff. We'll see if people come in. Yeah, I couldn't really. There, I figured it was a good time to do the live episode because I wanted to do live episodes every once in a while, and given the episodes that we've done already, kind of going through my life and what I've been through, and then the last one being with my mom and kind of discussing that, I figured it might be a good idea to go live and have people ask questions that have watched all the episodes and might have a question about it or whatever. So yeah, we're doing this one live, and partially just because I didn't have a guest to come on this month and I didn't know what else to do for it. I didn't have something specifically to talk about, and like I could talk about what I'm going through right now, but I feel like it's kind of the same that it's been. So if I just sat here and talked for 45 minutes about, how my mental health's been lately and stuff, then it might not be the best episode. So we are live. hopefully that people are gonna come by and discuss, um, the past episodes, ask a question that they might have or what have you. Um, Hope you enjoy it if you're listening. I'll read the questions out loud for those listening on Spotify if anybody's listening on Spotify. But I guess to start it off, we can just start discussing something I've been thinking about lately. First off, I want to thank everybody. If you haven't been by streams and stuff for all the sports stuff lately, February was our best month on the channel of all time, and it really means a lot because I haven't been doing great lately. Most of y'all know for about the past year or so, I've been struggling a lot, and it's been getting worse and worse, honestly. But um, the past month and a half, 2 months, probably just mostly of all of 2024, I have turned to just specifically focusing on YouTube stuff and only doing not only doing YouTube stuff, but just YouTube's what makes me happy and so what I get and what I enjoy doing and helps me give hope for helps me with hope for the future and stuff. So I wouldn't and so the numbers and stuff and everything, while it shouldn't be big of a deal, it really does like help with that anxiety and stuff of leaning so much on it but scared of losing it because I've lost a lot of the other things that have helped me through and helped me with my mental health or helped me be happy. So thank you guys so much for all the support because I don't know where I'd be without it. You haven't gotten around to the rest of them. You can still ask questions, Mudkip, or uh, whatever. The first two episodes weren't great. The best episode, my favorite two episodes are probably the last one because I did the interview. Well, we did it with my mom and we got into some stuff, and then the one about AWA I think was a good one, um, which was the November episode. I think those two are episodes worth watching. If I was to specifically pick out two that people should listen to or watch, it would be those two. I mean, it doesn't have to specifically be something from the that I've talked about or anything. If you have a question or want some insight on my viewpoint on something, I can try. As I've said in the past, I'm not a professional. I'm not a therapist. I'm not trained. I am here to give my point of view, help people not feel alone, help them know that other people are going through what they're going through, and people understand what they're going through, and do that. So hopefully, at least something can be gotten out of it. I had to do this episode though because I couldn't. I can't take a month off from doing the podcast and then it's just gone. And the podcast is something I really want to do. Um, it's something I want to keep going. It's a struggle right now, but I'm hoping eventually it can be lifted off the ground and do really well. So I've already had an episode about the podcast not doing well, so I don't want to do another episode just talking about the podcast not doing well. Anybody have anything? I don't know what to talk about. I was hoping people would be here. Anybody? Why would that come back, Mudkit? It doesn't make any sense. It's just about mental health, Dan. Um, Mudkip, Political Christian was the original channel name that I had on YouTube because my degree's in political science. Um, why would I? Why would that be a thing again? I changed the name to better fit the idea of what the channel that I want to have is doing. What do I struggle with the worst with anxiety? I don't know. It really varies. I'm because of how, like, I think a lot of what I've gone through growing up and stuff with you know, kind of school being easy and being successful at most things that I did growing up, and um everything that I now have a very strong sense of, like, strong fear of fail. I wouldn't say fear, but I get really bad anxiety about failing because I think for a long time I didn't do it, and then I was never like accustomed to it. So I got to points in my life where when I started to, it wasn't something that I knew how to handle. And I think I still struggle with that a lot. Um, there's also the anxiety. I think my biggest anxieties actually come from being I don't want to say being alone, being putting myself in a situation that relies on people being there and then nobody being there. Um, if I would try to have a birthday party or something, nobody showed up, or you know, I'm trying to plan an outing with friends and then I'm the only one that goes, or uh, something like that. It's the fear of my anxiety. That's probably my biggest anxiety, but that doesn't happen often because I don't do much with people. Um, so the failures probably happen the most where I'm the most stressed about it and get the most stress about it, but uh, because that's something I face on a day-to-day basis. Hi Lily, how are you? Hey Quandale. Hello Infinite Cars. Hopefully you're doing well. Thank you, Dune.
Let's
So much.
go!
Hi Henry, how are you? But my anxiety shows up in a lot of various ways, right? So, and it's different every day. And I have really bad anxiety, especially when streaming. Because my anxiety will get bad, and I'll get stressed about the fact that we're doing Venusaur raids and somebody keeps throwing her and we keep losing or whatever. Um, and then I get stressed that people are gonna think that I'm like really angry or really upset because of the way my stress is being shown. Uh, so I worry about that a lot as well. Those are like the main places I think. But I'm constantly stressing about. I'm almost always stressed about something, unless I'm like completely zoned out, like watching a YouTube video or mainly YouTube videos. But I don't really, like I said, I have comfort shows and stuff that I'll get turn to. I try to. It's not the best way to handle it. I try to deep breaths genuinely do help, so I'll take deep breaths. Obviously, what helps is overcoming it and getting past whatever I was having anxiety about and looking back on it and realizing it either turned out okay or, like always, it wasn't nearly as bad as what I was stressing it was going to be like. Uh, those things typically help a lot. Over the past year, some stuff happened a year ago that really has had me in a bad place, and I think there's a lot of stress that comes from that situation. And I don't. A lot of times, it's hard to see the line between the anxiety and the depression because how much of my how much of me being down and everything is fear of me like being alone the rest of my life, which would be kind of like, which one is that really? Is that anxiety because it's fear of something that's going to happen or be a certain way, or is it the depression of just feeling like loneliness and stuff? And it's a lot of times there's a border there. There's a line there that's hard to tell the difference between because it really is both of them at times. It feels like. Um,
You're awesome.
Thank you so much, Mudkit. Thank you, Still Dune, as well. Like, where is that line that differs between the anxiety and the depression? And I can physically feel the difference at times, and I could be feeling depression and anxiety because of the same thing. Um, but it's because my anxiety will get me. Y'all have seen me have panic attacks live. Um, so also the latency's bad today. I'm sorry about that. But so that I can easily tell. Like when I was at AWA and had the panic attack in AWA, and it's like my left arm started going numb, my chest started to hurt. I can tell that a lot easier. That lets me know. But sometimes I don't even know that I'm having like really bad anxiety or going through a panic attack, and then something I realized a few years ago is like I typically will watch through the whole Harry Potter series if my anxiety's been bad for a decent amount of time. So now if I catch myself watching like multiple movies in a row, I'm like, wait, maybe I'm using this as a comfort because it's something I grew up with, something I feel safe with, something I've enjoyed my whole life. Um, that makes me feel comfortable. And that's sometimes when I realize that I'm even having anxiety because sometimes it's hard to even know. I don't know if it's the fact that I go through it all the time, like I'm constantly like anxious and stuff. Actually, my left arm's starting to feel a little numb right now. Yeah. Well, something I realized is that when I wasn't feeling alone, when I had a friend to share enjoy stuff with, when we would do stuff together, we would hang out regularly. I didn't feel depressed really anymore. My anxiety was still bad though. Uh, Obviously, I was still depressed, but it was not. It was not as strong as it has been in the past and as it is right now. But the anxiety was still there, very strong. So, like I tried to explain to my doctor at one point that I wanted to focus on the anxiety because I felt like that was more prominent, and the anxiety was likely leading to a lot of the things that caused my depression, like feeling alone. If I didn't have so much anxiety and so much stress, I would be talking to people more regularly, going out and doing things maybe, and I wouldn't feel so alone possibly, and that depression could go away. But for the doctor that I talked about that with, wanted to focus on the depression first, and I was like, I really feel like focusing on the anxiety first. For me, it's different for everybody, obviously, but I felt like for me, the anxiety is more prominent. It is a bigger issue. It has a greater impact on my day to day life than the depression does, and it was something I wanted to focus on. And like I said, I felt like helping the anxiety, focusing on the anxiety, could have helped with depression as well. Hey Eden, how are you doing today? It's something that I do need to get back in to get help with. You know, I have high blood pressure and heart conditions and stuff because of it. So I'm glad you don't get it anymore. Hopefully I can find a way to get to that point. I've never been able to like I talked to my mom in the last episode to try to figure out where a lot of it comes from. A lot of it's like I I have some external pressure, but a lot of it's just internal pressure on myself because I expect certain things of me. Um, and then there's also the aspect of I want everyone to like me. First, like there's something in there that's like I want to be liked. I don't want to do something that makes somebody not like me. So I always overthink everything. I'll say some. I remember at AWA, I said something one day, and then the next day I went back and like apologized for it. I was like, I was up thinking about this all night, and they're like, "Oh, you're fine." You're fine. It wasn't something that I thought was an issue, but it was something that was stuck in my head that I was worried about and I was stressed about, and because I don't want people to see me as somebody that I don't see myself as. I think, and I have a lot of anxiety about that as well. Or if people see me in the wrong moment, like if somebody comes in a stream when I'm stressing out about something, and they think that's just I'm just this angry person that's always upset or yelling or raising my voice. Um, I stress about that because I'm like, I don't feel like that's me. That it just is my anxiety coming out, and the anxiety is part of who I am, obviously, but I'm not an angry person or anything. It just sometimes I get really stressed out and have to vent that stress out. Uh, and then when I vent the stress out, when I yell or raise my voice or whatever, I then stress about the way that I handled that. So it's a pain, but like and like the pressure thing I talked about in the last episode. I had a teacher one time. I don't remember if they used the word prodigy, but they basically called me like a prodigy. I think it was my third grade teacher. And like that put a lot of pressure on me, you know. There was a lot of expectations in school and stuff that were put on me that I think I still hold on myself because of things that other people said to me. Or even just like grades alone. If you get straight A's for so long and then your grades just drop, you kind of have this expectation for yourself. And through all my degrees and all my years of college and everything, I still don't feel like I've lived up to what I can do. And I think I still let myself down in that aspect. And I'm trying to be better at knowing that, like, right now, the degrees I'm working on don't matter. The grades aren't a huge deal. It's all for YouTube. I'm not going to be using it for anything. So I shouldn't be stressing that I'm getting a B in a class when I feel like I should be getting an A in the class. But I still stress about it. Like, I was freaking out the other week on stream because of stuff with a history class that I have a B in because I've never gotten a B in history. And I was like, I shouldn't be getting a B in this history class. The teacher's just not listening to like what I'm saying. And I shouldn't be stressing about it because it doesn't in the long run matter at all, but nice, Dan. Well, it's also different for everybody. Like I said, for me, taking deep breaths help. Just talking to somebody about it, talking through it helps. That's something that happened at AWA when I was having a panic attack. Somebody just sat there and talked to me, and we talked about baseball and stuff, and then it went away. Distracting myself helps. So sitting down and watching an anime or some TV or something usually will help me calm down. Um, at times, YouTube can help. Welcome back, Lily. Chat can help. The issue with that is that's probably still the aspect of having people to talk to and stuff. Is if I do go live when I'm stressed out and things aren't going well live, it's just going to make the stress worse. It probably is the best thing that I've found to help with my anxiety is streaming. Um, but there is that risk of, nobody coming and it causing me to stress out more, or, the stream not going well or whatnot and causing me to stress out more. Now, most of the time, like I said, it's very helpful, and especially lately with all the support y'all been showing and everything, and people talking in chat and stuff, it is helpful. Most of the time, not when people are trying to throw Venusaur raids on purpose, but most of the time that helps me, and I think that's what's helped me the most. Is lately, at least, is YouTube and just streaming and talking to people. Or I don't know how much of it is strictly just the fact that seeing a stream going well, seeing likes and seeing people there makes me feel better and relieve stress, because the stress of, failing at YouTube and stuff kind of gets alleviated a little bit. I don't know how much of it comes from that and how much of it is just talking to chat, and it's hard to know. I don't know if I will ever be able to know, but I feel like it's mostly just being able to talk to people in chat. I feel that, I feel that so much, Quandale. Like, being overwhelmed by people depending on you and stuff. I feel like I feel that a lot. Um, I think I feel kind of bad. I have been struggling so much recently that I've kind of cut myself off from everybody. I would talk to anybody outside of chat and YouTube related stuff for a long time, since January. So for over a month, like, I haven't talked to my mom or anything, and I think there's a lot of that in there, Glendale, just not doing well myself, so I don't want to bring anybody else down with me, or I don't want to let these people that are depending on me down by the fact that I don't know what it is. It's just, I know that I've not been talking to people while I'm not doing well. Yeah, it is, Quandale. Like that's a lot going on and a lot of pressure that's put on you from the outside, and it's hard to handle it. And like having classes, getting your job, saving money, like it's a lot of things at once. And if you can't separate it in your mind, if all that's hitting you at the same time and you can't even focus on one thing, it really sucks because like this happens to me a lot on stream where I'll be stressed about something outside of YouTube, whatever, and then something else to do with YouTube that's not to do with the stream that's going on is in my head, but also I have to stream, and then all those thoughts are in my head. You'll notice that at times I'll be quiet for like a minute or two, and a lot of times that's my mind stressing about something that doesn't even have to do with what's going on at that time, and it's hard to compartmentalize and only focus on the one thing at a time when there's so many stressors going on at the same time. Um, so you've been feeling droopy, thinking about something that could probably happen. If it happens to you, how do I help it? I usually talk. Well, one, I'll talk to somebody that might understand the situation, and usually they'll say the same thing that I say in my head. Because the main thing is if it hasn't happened yet, it's not guaranteed to happen. And how many? And I know this is true. It never works for me, but it's true and something that like it's nice to think of and helps in maybe the long run. But it's helped me before. I think I can think of one time with work where I thinking about this helped. But usually the anxiety is much worse than the worst outcome of whatever the situation is. So usually stressing and having that anxiety or panic attack about something that might happen, even if the worst thing happens in that situation a lot of the time, it's not as bad as the anxiety was. Your family pressures you to be the best in school, but it's causing you to do bad in school. And yeah, I get that, Trico. I don't think my mom ever put pressure on me to do well in school. I think she knew that even if I was not doing well in school, she knew I was going to be successful in some way because I was smart enough to get through it. But I think a lot of people in school, a lot of teachers and faculty put pressure on me because they would expect so much of me and stuff. So I get that that pressure is very hard to deal with. I put that pressure on myself nowadays, and I don't know how to deal with the pressure from myself. College is scary. At least college allows you a little more alleviation in the anxiety department because you're kind of more free to do things as you will and stuff. I'm just saying my perspective on things, by the way. Everybody's different, right? Everybody's anxiety is different. That's something my friend and I would talk about a lot. It was like crazy how closely our anxiety related to each other because so often when you talk to people about it, their anxiety shows itself in different ways, and they react to it in different ways. They have anxiety about different situations. So nobody's the same. The best I can do is give them what I've gone through and my perspective on it. But what works for me is not going to work for everybody. Um, I think the biggest thing that has helped with a lot of it for me too. I know I mention it all the time, but finding United Gamer, Dylan's channel, finding people who would openly talk about mental health, feeling like I wasn't the only person going through exactly what I was going through, hearing other people that are going through the situations I am, knowing that I'm not alone, I'm not different, has allowed me to feel more open to talking about it. And because you can't put a lot of it into words, right? You can't really, there's a lot that's going on in my head that I can't explain, and it's just easier to talk to somebody who also has that stuff going on in their head because you don't need to explain it then. Because I can't think of the words to say about it most of the time. Y'all see me on stream, Quandale Trico, with the stress to anger, where I'm not converting my stress to anger, where my stress comes out with me raising my voice or yelling. That might come off as anger. Mom wanted you to be good in certain subjects. Your mom wanted you to be a doctor, but you've always loved paleontology, so you want to be a paleontologist. You got to do what you want to do, and I would say most of the time your mom is gonna be okay with whatever you want to do because it's what makes you happy. Once they see that you're happy doing what you do, I think I think your parents' opinion would change on whatever it is. So keep going for what you want to do because in the end they're going to be okay with that cuz I've my mom never really pushed me to do a specific thing. Um so I've never felt like what I was maybe I felt like I needed to be successful in a way to be able to take care of her and not let her down, but I never felt like she would be disappointed in whatever I did as long as I was doing something I enjoyed. Um, and so I don't really specifically like obviously people have parents that don't there are parents out there who aren't great parents. There are parents out there who don't understand what they're doing. That don't understand that they're going through something as well, that they're putting this pressure on you or they're expecting something of you that they just wanted for themselves. And they might not be okay with the fact that you come out of it being happy because you're not doing what they wanted you to do. But I think that would be more on them and what they're going through. And I know that can't change how you also feel about this situation because you want to make your parents happy. But um, yeah, that's what I was talking about, Trico. There's a lot of times where it's like their own stuff being playing a part into it. But I think in the very end, if you come out on top, doing okay for yourself and happy, I think that's what truly will matter in the end, you know? Uh the they're gonna be there a lot, Jackson. I don't know how to get rid of them honestly, because I have them all the time. What do you mean, Jade? Like having the thoughts of hating yourself and your body and stuff is I think the most helpful thing about especially your body is being reaffirmed by other people. Um, because I still feel like I need to lose weight, but when I hear stuff from the outside about my weight loss and stuff, and be like, "Man, you've done so good" and stuff, that does help me a little bit. Um, you can go take a nap, Jade. Do you want to ask anything? So, those thoughts are gonna be there, and I think everybody has those thoughts. It's so don't feel like, but hating yourself and stuff is a really hard thing to get past, you know. Because I've hated myself for most of my life. I think I'm finally getting closer to accepting myself. Not that I have yet, but it's a hard thing to get past. And I think what's helped me the most is talking, being open with everybody. I don't hide anything with anybody anymore. And some people don't like it, but it's what I have found to be the best thing for me. So I'm just completely open about everything and don't hide anything from anybody, and it just helps me a lot more. Okay, dude. So those thoughts, just letting them out, saying them out loud might help. I don't know. I think that can be helpful for some people, for me, but that doesn't mean it'll necessarily be helpful for you. But sometimes just looking in the mirror and be like, I'm hot can help too. I know it sounds dumb, but look at yourself in the mirror and say something affirming to yourself. Sounds crazy, but I do it sometimes and it makes me feel good. Just be like, damn, I look good. Like looking at myself in the mirror. It doesn't feel like the type of thing that would work, but for some reason, and it's temporary. It doesn't like permanently work, but it does help. And having those days where you like where you know you've been doing well, like if you're working out or taking a lot of steps or what have you, just doing slightly better than you do on most days, that day can feel really good to you and make you feel better about yourself. Like I haven't worked out in a few days. I could go do 10 pull-ups right now and I feel a lot better about myself just because it's been so long since I've worked out. Just doing anything minor is going to feel good. Yeah, I don't think anybody has, like I said, for me, Jade, nobody's hasn't helped you much because for some reason nobody knows what to do. What hasn't helped you much? You want to do what, Warrior? All I can say is I've been to a lot of doctors. I've talked to a lot of people throughout my life. I lucked into a situation where I started to find stuff that helped me feel better about myself with finding YouTube and stuff. Um, and I'm 31 years old now, and I'm still trying to figure things out, and nobody knows exactly what it is.
You're
I
awesome.
think. Thank you so much, Ash. I think. I think. Well, I don't even think you necessarily need people to do something, Jade. At least for me, I just need people to listen. I don't need anybody to really do anything to help me. I just need somebody to understand. That helps me. I might not be what helps you, but it makes me, I wouldn't say it helps me be better, but it helps me feel more comfortable, if that makes sense. Just being able to talk about stuff is very helpful. You feel less alone. I'm sorry to hear that you're struggling with anxiety, Archer. Yeah, Wario. It's weird how it helps. I don't do it that often, but every once in a while I do. And especially with how much weight I had lost over the past year and stuff, I did it a lot. But just having somebody that understands and somebody to talk to about what you're going through, that you don't have to try to put things into words that are impossible to put into words, can really help, Jade. Um, so that, at least for me, I don't know if that would help you, but like, it's so frustrating to talk to my doctor and they don't understand what's happening, or they think they know and they don't understand, you know? Just because you've read a, like, obviously there's professionals out there and most of, and they're, if you're getting into that field, you want to help people and stuff, but like them not, I've had doctors that don't take my feedback and stuff, and it's like so frustrating because I'm like, I know what's going on in my head. Yeah, that's what we're here for, Archers, so that you don't feel alone sometimes. That you know that other people are going through what you're going through and that you're not alone in the fight. It's hard to find, like I've said, I've gotten a lot worse over the past little while, so I'm not the best at knowing how to get better, obviously. It's obviously different for everybody too. I know what helped with my depression was finding somebody and having a friend in my life that enjoyed the same things I did and being able to share that enjoyment. What's nothing has helped permanently with anxiety. I have a lot of like temporary on the spot solutions that have helped me, but nothing has helped in the overarching, over like a week of anxiety or whatever. I've had depression, I had stuff that helped me consistently with it. I haven't found that with anxiety. I don't have that anymore with the depression, but um like I said, the anxiety is like finding an escape is what helps me. So, anime is a big thing. Um Going back and watching old movie series and stuff, like I said with Harry Potter and everything, those are things that just I can zone out, I can escape the real world and not feel stressed for a small amount of time. That's the best that I've been able to figure out. If anybody else has something, let me know. Um, Deep breaths genuinely help too because your anxiety speeds up your heart rate and your blood pressure gets going. So the deep breaths actually help slow that down a little bit. I'm sorry to hear that, Archer. Losing a pet is awful. My cat passed away back when I first started my YouTube channel, and it's something that was really hard for me to handle. You're gonna go talk to someone? Okay, Jackson. We're probably gonna be wrapping up the stream soon because this is supposed to be a podcast episode, so we're not gonna go too long with it. I also need to make dinner and get ready for stream later. Um, I just felt like discussing the stuff that y'all might have questions about and stuff. Remember, again, I am not a therapist. I am saying my own point of view on what I go through. Um, but I am in no way a replacement for that. I am in no way trying to give any sort of medical advice. And like I said, it's different for everybody, so I can tell you what I do, how I see it, but that doesn't mean it's gonna help you. Because, like, you could be experiencing it completely different than I do. But at the very least, hopefully you can feel like, hey, these other people, they're also struggling. It's not just me. That can be a huge step to fix it. Hey, D man, how are you? Pets can be huge in that help too, but there's also that aspect of loss. Hi, Chloe, how are you? And when you lose something, you feel lost, and it can be finding finding yourself after something can be hard. Rolo, he was always there. You see him in your new dog. Well, that's good at least, Trico. And Chloe. Hi, Cayenne. Any other? I guess we've mainly just touched on everything. And like I said, there's there's a thin line between the depression and anxiety, and it's hard to tell the difference at times, especially for me lately. I can't, when I don't want to get out of bed in the morning, even, it's like I can't tell which thing is causing me to not want to get out of bed. Oh, this is the podcast, Chloe, and just talking about everything. This is for my podcast, which is about mental health, so we're just discussing it. Sometimes it might be my anxiety of scared of not being able to complete what I need to get done for the day, or failing at what I'm going to do for the day, or what have you, or letting somebody down, being disappointed. Mainly, it would be within the form of YouTube, or if it's my depression, then it's just like, what's the point of getting out of bed? I have like nothing to do. Nobody's gonna care what happens. Like those two things are one's anxiety, one's depression, but both of them have played an impact on my desire to get out of bed in the morning at times, and it's hard to manage both at the same time, especially. I still think about my cat regularly years later, Archer. I don't think it's something to get over. It's more of you know that they were struggling, and they're better off. You had to make the right decision so they weren't struggling anymore. Nice, Trigo. It's my roommate's dog. Thinks he's a puppy, but he also acts like he's a puppy, so he doesn't listen to anything. He gets into everything. He causes trouble. He whines for attention, but he's like 6 years old, so it's annoying. Well, that's good, Chloe. Yeah, talking to people can just help, especially people that understand, because it's so hard to put so. Like I said, I keep saying it, but it's hard to put certain things into words. I guess we should be wrapping up. We're about the 45-minute mark for this episode, so that's good, Trico. Just make sure you don't give up on it. I've talked to a lot of therapists, and it's hard to find the right one because everybody's different, and talking to the right person matters to you. So if the first one doesn't work, feel free. Like, you should be okay trying to find somebody different. Yeah, that's a hard thing to deal with. But remember, most of the time you're not actually letting them down. Um, they're okay. Like, everybody's gonna fail, and they know that you're gonna fail at times, and you're not letting them down as long as you're striving to do what's best for you most of the time. True, Chloe. Yeah, I get that. I know that can have a huge impact on it. This my social anxiety has a huge impact on other aspects of my anxiety plus the depression. Just not being able to talk to people. Um, but yeah, we're gonna wrap up about here. We'll try to do the live streams like twice a year, maybe for the podcast. Um, hopefully the podcast can grow and the live streams can grow, and we can figure out how to handle the podcast better live. But um, I enjoyed this episode. It's always hard for me to wrap stuff up because I want to keep talking to y'all. Like I said, it helps with my anxiety and stuff to talk with chat. But I do have to get ready, make dinner, and get ready to actually stream and stuff tonight. Plus, I want to turn this into an actual episode. So hopefully you can watch this back. Watch the rest episodes of the podcast. This is episode 9. So if you go watch the first 8 episodes, maybe you can learn a little from that. Oh, that's not good, Trico. Shouldn't, I know it's hard to manage the anger and stuff that comes along with it, but hopefully you can. If you watch the last episode of the podcast, actually, my mom talks about my anger and stuff that came out when I was in like high school and stuff, and I started getting really angry all the time. Um, I don't know why I got better. Maybe it was just the fact that I didn't want to hurt people and stuff, but don't understand what you're going through. They say that, like I said, Archer, everybody's anxiety is different. Everybody's mental health is different. But no, you're not the only person struggling with uh those things. And while your struggles may be slightly different, you're not alone. Like we've been talking about here. There's a chat's full of people who are going through a lot of the same stuff. Yeah, it can be losing that structure of school and stuff can be very difficult. I've been in school pretty much my whole adult life, and when I'm not at school, it is kind of strange. We'll see, Trico, whenever I can schedule it. We're doing the egg lock tonight. I'm gonna try to schedule it for like 2 hours from now because I have to make dinner and stuff first. But it'll be the egg lock. But like I said, if you get anything out of this, hopefully is that you know you're not alone, which I say in every episode pretty much. But that's like a huge thing I feel like, and just um I guess that's really it. Please go back and watch other episodes. Hopefully, you can get a lot of insight from that. And even if you just watch the first 2 and maybe episode 8, where I talk to my mom, you can understand what I've gone through in my life that may have caused the situations that I end up in and kind of relate to that. That's the whole point, is to help you relate and um, feel less alone. It's hard to put this stuff into words, so hopefully you can understand. And if you don't understand, hopefully you can understand the fact that it's hard for people to put it into words. So if your friend's struggling and you're not, or a family member struggling, even if you're not, hopefully we can help you understand that it's not that they don't want to tell you or talk about it at times. It's that it's hard to, because you can't explain it a lot of the time. So hopefully this can help on both ends of that spectrum. But thank you, chat. We're gonna wrap up here. I don't want the episode to be too long. The last one was really long, and I want people to actually listen to it. And plus, I have to cut this down and edit it. Like I said, I'll be live with a stream. Let's wrap up the podcast part first. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode. Please go check out all the previous episodes if you haven't already. Hopefully we can get a guest on next month. Like I said, I've been struggling at talking to people for the past. I haven't talked to any family or anything for a while. So hopefully I can, this will push me to talk to somebody, have an open up about it, and we can get a guest back on next month. Also need to reach out to other streamers and stuff and have them on. Mental Health Awareness Month is coming up in May, so we got 2 months. I'm currently scheduling stuff for charity, and we're gonna do a bunch of collabs and stuff. Work with a bunch of people because I feel like spreading the audience and collabing with people, getting more eyes on the charity, can raise more money for the charity. That's the reason I do it that way. So I'm sorry that happens, Guyan. Hopefully that is just. Hopefully that's something that changes, Guyan. That they keep picking on you and stuff. Their family, I feel like that's something brothers do to each other growing up, but hopefully it's something they grow out of. But yeah, I don't know how this is gonna work as an episode either. I tried to read out chat, but I know many times I just answered chat and didn't read it out. So we'll see how that goes. If you're watching it back on YouTube, I can't even include the chat on. The stream will still be up, so you can go back to the stream and do the live chat replay. Yeah, but like I said, I still need research charity for May. If you are a content creator or something and want to help me do something for the charity, let me know. We'll try to get something scheduled. We might even do weekly podcasts or something during the month. That seems like it could be a good idea. It depends on how the podcast is doing at the time. But we still got a little bit time to plan for that. So I'm sorry. I love you all. Hope to see you back here next time for episode 10 of the podcast. Hopefully with a guest. Okay, Jeff. That was to wrap up for the podcast. So when I edit it down, it doesn't look like. I can call you Alex. Trico, can I? There's enough Alexes here, though. That's what I worry about. Trico is or Alex. We have 2 other Alexes that are regulars on the channel. Technically 3, because Mudkip's also Alex, but. Then I'll call you Alex if you'd prefer it, but like I said, it can be difficult. Alex the Trico, that's just a lot of words. It's hard to switch back and forth with someone's name. Alex the Torchic. Did we have one? We had somebody the Torchic. I don't remember if it was Alex the Torchic that used to come around. There's Alex Extrantal, and then there's Alex Smiley Face. And then Mudkip's also Alex. So yeah, if we got Alex the Torchic, then we'll have 3 Alexes with all 3 starters. At AT&T. Okay, Trico. Well, I might call you Alex sometimes, but like I said, there's too many Alexes. It'll get confusing. Though if I'm talking to another Alex, it might confuse you. Alex Hohen starters. But okay, guys, we're gonna wrap up so I can go eat dinner and get ready for the egg lock tonight because I'd like to grind a few candies before we start stream. So this turned out pretty well. I was stressed at the beginning, not gonna lie. You'll see if you watch it, the beginning of the podcast, you'll see it. But I need to get this downloaded too so I can edit it and get it out. So thank you guys so much for being here and chatting with me and helping me get some points across or touch on points that I hadn't thought of in the podcast. It means a lot. But I'll see y'all later. I'm sorry. I love you all. We're not going to raid from this because it's like a weird thing to raid from, I feel like. So I hope to see you back here later today.